Hello students, how are you? I believe all of you are healthy and happy with your families. Today we are going to get started with the explanation of the poem Keeping Quiet. In the previous video, we learned a little about Mr. Pablo Neruda, the famous Chilean poet, Nobel laureate, the writer of this poem, as well as the theme of the poem, which deals with quiet introspection and why that is necessary to attain peace of mind or inner peace as well as mutual understanding among the human beings. These are the two themes that you must learn while writing the answers to the questions related to the theme or the requirement of keeping quiet. The explanation will be taken up into two parts, so let's get started with the first part, stanza by stanza. The first one, now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. The poet begins with counting 12, urging everyone to be still. And still here doesn't mean that you have to just stop moving everything. No, you have to stop working. You have to be quiet inside and out. You cannot keep on thinking while introspecting yourself. You have to stop everything, inside your thoughts as well as outside. And he chose the word 12 very cautiously and smartly. Let's see what this word refers to. 12 hints at the 12 hours of a day which rules our life. 12 refers to 12 zodiac signs believed to be the controlling forces of our lives also. 12 refers to 12 months of a year. 12 even may be aimed for a preparation for all to be ready to plunge into the state of silence. So he is referring to this word, asking us to be quiet for a moment or two and quietly introspect oneself. There are two poetic devices mentioned here. One is we will, alliteration, the sound of were in we and will both. And then we have antithesis. Count to 12 and we will all keep still. How can something so opposite to each other be together? How can we count and we be still also? Both are not possible together. But if that is written in such a manner, it means that we have the use of antithesis by the poet. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. The poet here urges everyone to break the barriers of language and unite with one invisible tune, that is silence. With the word earth, the poet hints at all the humans living devoid the identity of country, creed and caste. So the first thing is that the poet is talking about the language of silence, because all of us, either we are speaking very different languages, we are continuously in dispute with each other over small things. He wants everybody to speak in a single language, the single way of expression, with a single emotion, that is silence, and attaining quietness inside. And he refers to earth, the face of the earth, because he is talking about the entire planet, everyone present on the planet. Though language is the identity of a country or race, he affirms that humans are more important and the identity of being a human of earth is broader realization. So what we have to understand is that not only am I from a particular state speaking a particular language, or I belong to a particular nation, this caste, that family, no. More importantly, you are a human being living on this planet firstly. So believe yourself to be one human being for yourself as well as one citizen of this entire world. The figure of speech personification is used by the poet. When he says face of the earth, it means that we stand on the earth actually. So what we have to do, whether we have to quietly introspect, whether we have to keep calm, We have to do it on the earth itself because we belong to the earth. See, we are straightly connected to the earth. We are standing on it. Personification is used by the poet, and then alliteration. Once on. So the sound of N is repeated, that is why. So he wants everybody to be in a unison. Then only he can achieve something that he wants. And he wants everybody to be quiet, still. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. Again, very important lines. The poet here urges to stop for 1 second. He doesn't need much of your time. He wants some moments from your busy life for yourself and for the planet also. Here, second presents the tiniest part of time calculation. He ushers us to keep ourselves off for at least 1 second from the negative aspects. Here, arms is with dual meanings. He apparently indicates arms as our hands which keep on moving, engaged in several activities, and at the same time refers to the weapons we use for destruction. So, pun is used by the poet beautifully. The hands that keep on moving, we are busy with this and that. If our hands are not moving, our legs are not moving, something is going on in the head. We are thinking ahead of our time, not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future. Think about the present right now. That is what the poet wants. So, arms refers to the hands, and arms also refers to the weapons of destruction. We use them to harm each other. The poet wants them to stop for at least a second to achieve a greater task, to achieve a greater notion. So here in the picture it can be seen on your right hand side. In one picture it can be seen that how we keep on moving our arms and we are so busy doing this and that, and we want to catch everything, we want to do everything. In the future also, my task, I have to appear in an examination and I have to study for that. What will I do after that, and what will I do after that? Everything is planned. We don't think about the present at all. And the weapons of war, one can clearly see how destructive they are. The next part. It would be an exotic moment. Without rush, without engines, we would all be together in a sudden strangeness. A small paragraph filled with figures of speech and such a beautiful message that when quiet introspection will be adopted by everybody on the planet, it would be quite mesmerizing. Something like that has never happened. And in this particular time period where we are living right now, I must give the example because this happened. It was an unprecedented thing. It never happened earlier. When the entire world was locked down in their houses, with their families, doing nothing actually. Even when they were doing something, still everybody was surprisingly doing the same thing, being locked down inside. And that is why the poem is contemporary, very contemporary. And that is when we realized during that period of time that how nature started rejuvenating and how we troubled the nature for so many years and it breathed happily for that particular small period of time when humans were caged inside their homes. Coming back to the text, we are always on move. We are all busy in accomplishing our work and go on rushing in our lives. The poet even urged to stop engines, and here he refers to the industrial works causing harms to environment. He wants everything to be stopped, every machine to be stopped. No rush, no hurry, no engines, no human activity, nothing at all. The poet urges us to stop our personal activities and stop engines and unite in one tune, that is silence. We would all be together. Doing what? Being silent, quietly introspecting ourselves. The poet declares silence as exotic because This silence will make us blissful, strange, and will bring complete equilibrium that is required in the nature today. And it would be suddenly very strange, everyone so quiet and silent. Something like that never happens, right? The poetic devices used by the poet, repetition without is used again and again to show that we don't need all these things actually. And then alliteration in we would, again alliteration and sudden strangeness. And this is a picture showing that how during that small moment when everybody will be quietly introspecting, the entire planet will be together in a sudden strangeness, something that hasn't happened earlier. Moving forward to the last stanza of this particular page, which is in your book. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. It's very symbolic, that this entire paragraph, it's very symbolic. Let's first look at the meaning. If we be still, we shall be able to introspect the mistakes and wrongs done, whatever we have done wrong. Here, fishermen are the representatives of all kinds of tyrants and killers, including us actually, because we kill the nature every moment. The moment we use plastic, the moment our vehicles start emitting smog and pollution, we are the partners of the killers, killing big things, big animals, the entire planet. We are the ones who are doing it. The poet wants them to cease their work and realize their mistakes. The salt gatherer is explained as the representative of poor and lower section of the society. They go up to any level to earn their livelihood and often hurt themselves irreplaceably. Now, fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. I would like to take up these two lines firstly. Human beings, for accomplishing their tasks, for achieving success, fame, money, whatnot, industrialization, modernization, we try to achieve and improve in these areas. And doing that, we are harming the nature, the environment around us, harming other species. Every year, the number of species, they keep on decreasing. They are on the verge of extinction. Who is responsible for that? Everybody knows that. If you are in class 12th English core, you definitely have read The Ailing Planet, and how it clearly depicted that the world is on the verge of destruction because of one species among many. This is a picture that I believe everybody is aware of it, that how the human beings were the cause of the death of the pregnant elephant in Kerala. This shows that how we are harming other creatures. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. Fishermen represents the human beings and whale represents the other creatures, that is the entire nature besides us. And this is the self-destructive attitude depicted in the next two lines. The man gathering the salt would look at his hurt hands. So the man who is gathering the salt, he keeps on gathering the salt. He has to earn the money. He has to work hard. And during that time period, he actually forgets what his hands look like. How the rough salt is destroying his hands. He doesn't have the time to do that. But during introspection, he must look at his hurt hands, that how his work is actually destroying himself. He is on a self-destructive mode. How much he has destroyed himself. So this stanza talks about two things. One, how we are destroying other creatures and how we are destroying ourselves. It means that we are doing something very wrong. Very, very wrong. And that is why quiet introspection is required in our lives. The poetic devices used are symbolism, because cold sea here represents the polar region. Okay, and then his hurt hands, alliteration is used. Moving forward, this is the small flow chart with the help of which you can understand whatever we have read up until now. In the center we have quiet introspection. It barely takes a minute on the top. Then moving forward, below that leads to. What does quiet introspection leads to? It leads to betterment of oneself, as well as it is required for mutual understanding among the human beings. Now look at the three parts that what will happen. Exotic experience it is, quiet introspection. It also consists of unanimous silence. There will be silence all around. And all humans will be together into this. And moving forward to the other part, why is it required? To stop fights and disputes, despise harming others. We have to stop doing that. And we have to avoid harming ourselves too. Not only as a race, but also as a single human being. So this small flowchart depicts how quiet introspection has so many branches associated with it. Why is it required? How it will be done? What will happen when it is done? And with this, the poet gives you a picture. What is happening in the world today? And why is it required to be quietly introspecting oneself? And I would like to close this session with this small picture. What does it say? It talks about quiet peace, about which the poem is. Life can be full of tension, stress, and even chaos. At the end of each day, pause. Close your eyes and connect with the inner peace that lies behind the quiet heartbeat of your breath. This is your safe inner home. This is where you are relying, where you are residing. You are not anywhere else. You are inside you. And if you want to check yourself, you have to go inside, not outside. So let's close it now, and we will take up the rest of the poem in the next session.